hearing this?
Anybody hear that?
How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect?
Well, we're back.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 410, Tom Jurassic is here to discuss the Season 3 trailer for Jurassic World Chaos Theory. The thing kind of popped up over the last week out of nowhere, and we wanted to talk about it, so of course I had to have the one and only Tom Jurassic on the show. I know I did a quick kind of overview of everything that was in that trailer in a bonus episode, but we get to have a full-length breakdown with Tom Jurassic here today, and we are very excited. It is that time of the year again, with the show coming up right around the corner on April 3rd. We've got a lot to discuss, so me and Tom Jurassic are going to be, doing our usual, hopefully we're going to do our usual, watch the show ahead of time and get you some content out there. I'm very, very excited for Season 3. It looks like an absolute blast. The trailer was incredible. And, if you go to our website, JurassicParkPodcast.com, you'll actually find an article from Tom Jurassic over there outlining everything that was in the trailer as well. So if you want to read that, use it as a nice little accompanying piece to our episode here today, you can do so. But I'm very excited, so I hope you enjoy this episode. And of course, while you're listening to this episode, hit us up on Blue Sky to continue the conversation. And as always, please check out our live streams over on YouTube, discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. EST. Also, please be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. I got to put another one of those out there. It's about time, I think. It's usually for all things Jurassic, but other movies and TV shows and my podcasts and other thoughts and appearances. So please go check out the link over on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. But it is time, so let's go ahead and dive into the conversation with myself and Tom Jurassic about the Season 3 trailer for Jurassic World Chaos Theory.
So you show up here, prank call me, then go on and on.
I didn't prank call you. I didn't call you at all. It wasn't your fault.
I had met her that night, then...
No, that's why I'm here. I've been reading some stuff on Dark Jurassic. Brooklyn's death was no accident. She was targeted.
But why? Who would even want to do that?
I don't know for sure, but whoever killed Brooklyn is coming after the rest of us too. We need to warn the others. Sammy, Angie, Yas.
We've got a problem.
What am I supposed to be looking at here?
The sensor's not working. Hang on a sec.
Help me out here.
Get in between two girlfriends?
No, thanks.
Okay. Fixed it.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
I am so sorry.
There he is. You said he would be here. Want to make a little chaos? This is really happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
Hello everyone, I am Park Ranger Tom Jurassic, and welcome back to the Jurassic Park Podcast. With me today is the wonderful Brad Jost, who makes a guest appearance on this podcast now and then, and we are talking about the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3 trailer. So, Brad, as the guest, why don't you take us into it?
Dude, I like being a guest. Let me just say first off, it's always nice when I don't have to do anything and I can just make you do all the work.
Yeah, you're not doing the screen share or anything. It's all me.
No, it's all you. Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, the other day I did a episode behind the scenes with Ted Brothers and Jay Jurassic, and they were on the screen cool. On the live stream, but I was behind the scenes, like doing all the production end, and I was like, I like this. I want to do more of that. Yeah. That was fun. So yes, I like being the guest.
To be fair, not to derail us immediately, but Connor has said he would like to record as a trio at some point. So maybe we could like do a recordy bit, and then we do like a live Dino DNA where you go into the behind the scenes.
Hey, let me tell you, I definitely want to record with Connor, but I would be a waste of space on an episode of Dino DNA.
Dude, have you heard me on them? Have you heard me on them?
Well, you're good, man. You're good. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I'm just asking questions the entire time.
But yeah, man, you're right. We have an awesome trailer to dive into. Should I give my thoughts? How do you want to do this? Do you want to roll through those first?
I was going to say, do you know what? Give us an overview, and then I've got it up so I can take us through some of the interesting frames.
All right.
So what are your thoughts overall?
So yeah, I think this has been like a interesting cycle, right? Trying to lead up to this season because we've gone through it. I think as fans of Chaos Theory, we heard that this would be the final season, and then it kind of got taken back a little bit, and there is still no mention of final season. It just says like the next season or whatever, all new season, I think. So. And watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, wow, a lot of this looks final season to me, but I think there's still room to grow. So, like, in my mind, it could be, but then I'm like, wow, there is actually room to grow. So I was really excited watching this trailer for a lot of different reasons. I think it's got, like, it looks like it's ramping up the dinosaur action in fun ways again. We're getting everything that I always want from these shows, like Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory. We're getting ties to the grander material, with the films, seeing the Pyroraptor, seeing Dodgson, seeing all these things like kind of lead into Dominion is really awesome. So I was thrilled. It looks completely epic, and I can't wait to see what happens, dude. It looks awesome. How about you?
Hell yeah, dude. I am really buzzed. I just think this is what I wanted, which is for ages I've been saying whenever we talk that I'd really love to see Chaos Theory do their rendition of the Dominion dinosaurs. So I'm really happy that we get a flavour for that here. I don't know whether we're going to see all of them, and I do question whether we'd even see animals like the Giganotosaurus and the Therizinosaurus in a fourth season. But we're certainly on course to be in around the same locations as those animals, so they could easily get woven into the story to some extent. And yeah, I just think there's a lot of stuff to break down. I mean, to look forward to. My mind is already on breakdown. I've literally, so just to kind of jump straight into it, I've got the opening screen open, and I love how from the very beginning of the trailer, it's symbolic of what the plot thread is throughout this season, which is the fact that Brooklyn is playing a game of chess with Soyana Santos. Quite literally, she is making the moves to see if she can take this criminal enterprise down. So I think that's quite interesting to see as kind of our opening.
I think I did like a little bit in a previous episode in the news about this shot that we got because we got the picture ahead of time. And I was like, this is literally just a metaphor for what's going on in Brooklyn's head. She's playing chess. She's literally trying to move the correct pieces in order to take down whoever, whatever's going on. She's trying to play this correctly. So I like that metaphor there. That's cool.
It's cool. And then so we kind of cut from the plane to another plane, which is a heavy-duty cargo plane. So this looks like it's a military Hercules. But I mean, visually, it's very similar to the kind of large transport planes that you see Biosyn using in the Jurassic World Dominion film. So I do think that this is potentially connecting to that Biosyn story further. We know that obviously there were flights that were taking these animals to the Dolomites, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of one of those transit flights. And what I like here is it's not just any old transit flight, it's a Kentrosaurus, but specifically I think it's going to be Pierce, because we have one of the screenshots where you have Sammy and Yaz kind of just sat with him. So that is quite cool already, that we're getting layers of the Camp Cretaceous story being really brought back into this as well. What are your thoughts on having Pierce back in the story?
Dude, so I was wondering that as well. I couldn't come up with a name, and I forgot. Oh yeah, I got to look up what the name of it was because I couldn't remember. And I was like Googling it as you said it. I was like, Pierce. Oh, duh, of course, obviously, it's like the most obvious name. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I wonder, like, it didn't have any unique identifiers. I don't think, like Bumpy does. Did it? Outside of just like it had spikes and it looked, a certain color or whatever. So it would be interesting if the kids were like, do you think that's Pierce? Or if they actually know if it's Pierce or not. Like, so we'll see. But Or if it just makes them reflect on their memories of Pierce or something like that. That would be pretty cool. But I saw that and I was like, ooh, this could be a tie to Camp Cretaceous. Pretty cool.
I think it just sets the pace quite nicely, right? Of this idea that actually the animals from Manticore Island have ended up at Biosyn, which, ironically enough, I'll give you this little detail. That's something that I've written into the final season of Tales, is the idea that Biosyn took the animals from the Manticore investigation. So seeing that correlation here is just a really cool little detail that I personally really appreciate. So moving forward a little bit, we get to see that Ben has got the girlfriend in Italy, as some people had speculated. She is not a fictional online presence. She is a real human being, which is quite cool to see. And both her and her mother are played by guest stars. So she is played by Beatrice Grano, who you were saying is in White Lotus. And then the Nonna is played by Isabella Rossellini, who is Oscar nominated. So they're making a big deal about that guest cameo. I mean, guest stars aren't particularly new for Chaos Theory. Obviously, we had the daughter and mother in Senegal, and I've forgotten their names already. Zaina, wasn't it? We're going to be getting the same again here, which is quite cool. Do you have any thoughts on them as characters?
Not too much yet. I'm excited to see what they bring to the show. I can't believe, she's real. She's real. Everybody's in shock.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And I like that people actually already had this theory and it paid off for them. I wasn't even going that direction at all. Like I was wondering, like, where are they? What is this snowy location that they're in? Didn't even cross my mind that they would be making their way towards Italy, where Biosyn Valley just so happens to also be located as well. It's cool that they're moving in that direction, that, she just so happens to be up there. And I wonder, we do see the mother, grandmother, whatever she is, in an interesting situation later on in the trailer. So we do know that the handler is going to be, tracking them down in this way somehow.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, before we even get to the handler, we get to another quite significant character, which is the return of Lewis Dodgson. Gosh. I don't think it's a particular surprise here. I think it's naturally been going in this direction, right? But we do have Dodgson back. It's kind of cool seeing the vials there in that screenshot that you had up a second ago that are from the original Barbasol can. I just think that's quite a cool little visual nod. But I mean, Dodgson, it makes sense. It would have been a shame if they hadn't brought him back in. So I'm really glad that they've brought him back in. I'm curious to see whether it's going to be Campbell Scott that plays him, or I think wasn't it a different voice actor? Yeah, I was going to say.
It's Adam Harrington as Dodgson.
Yes. There we go. Thank you for that. So I'm assuming that's the same person from Camp Cretaceous. So cool to see that they are building this character back into the universe. And equally, we might get a little bit more context into him and Soyana's relationship, either before the events in Malta, so finding out what that incident was, or equally, it does look almost as if this might be filling in some of the gaps in the immediate afterwards of the Malta incident. So potentially, whilst Grant and Sattler are going and discovering hexapod allies, it does look like we could potentially be getting some of what else is going on there for Dodgson, which is quite interesting. I guess you're hyped to have him back as well, Brad?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I've thought about it previously about the crossover being like so directly tied to those moments that we get in Dominion. But watching the trailer didn't necessarily cross my mind that like we could actually be looking at moments that are happening at the same time, which would be really cool.
Yes.
Because I did a little breakdown on my own, and I was like, dude, how is Malta tired of this like happening like constantly? Like they must be tired of this happening. But if it's happening like back to back, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. That's pretty cool. But yeah, having Dodgson back, tying everything together, I love it. I'm so excited to see, what are these vials? What do they all pertain to? Like, Man, it's very cool to me. I just want to watch this so I know whether it does cross over with those moments, because that's my like number one hope, is just getting those direct ties to Malta and to Bios and Valley. So I am keeping my fingers crossed that they are so directly tied as you're saying. So
yeah, I think it's really interesting because obviously with Fallen Kingdom, we had the direct crossover in Camp Cretaceous, and that was something I really wanted because I was like, we already know what happens here, so it makes sense to have it tie into the events. I think with Chaos Theory, I wasn't as keen on getting a direct crossover, just because I was like, well, we've already seen this corner of the world, maybe it could show us somewhere else. But actually seeing the black market on screen, as you've perfectly frozen it there, is really, really cool to see. And I think actually everything I'm seeing makes me think that this is happening concurrently, just because of the fact that there is chaos unfolding at the black market later in the trailer. I mean, if you bring us a little bit forward, there's a moment, so we'll come back and talk about the moment with Bumpy's egg in a second, but I do just want to draw attention to the Ceratosaurus, exactly there, Brad. That looks like that's happening once all the chaos has unfolded and the fire in the market has started and the Allosaurus and the Carnotaurus have got free. So it would be cool to see other animals kind of reacting to that meltdown in the black market. And maybe we'll even get like a cameo of Claire and Owen in the background or something, which could be quite cool. So I'm curious to see how they play it, and I'm curious to see where the characters factor in. But this does really make me think like we might get to see where Soyana goes after her encounter with Barry.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I was going to say, like, this could be the end of Soyana Santos, but, like, she actually doesn't end there. Like, she just kind of seemingly disappears, right? In Dominion, she just kind of, like, walks away, right? I don't feel like we ever get a conclusion on her characters, so to get, like, a post that moment would be really cool, too. So, man, I'm hoping. Did we ever see a Ceratosaurus in Dominion at all? I don't think so, right? There was not.
Bear with me one second, and I'll just bring up the Malta Black Market.
There is like a scene somewhere in here with... Ooh, that's a big locust. Oh, here we go. This is the baryonyx here, and I'm assuming this is also Malta. But interestingly, I'm assuming it's Malta, but we do have a bunch of locusts flying around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The locusts didn't seem to be there at that point in time. So I don't really know.
There's in the black market, there are locusts that have been cooked because they're on
That's true.
Like skewers. So it's not beyond the pale that they would have been somewhere else. You can actually, I'm literally looking at a screenshot right now, and around where, ironically enough, the Stiggy is stored. So I forget that we do see the Stiggy in the market in the film as well. Mm-hmm. There is then a locust in a cage next to it. So it's conceivable that there were more of them. I'm just skimming through that scene with Kayla. So obviously in the extended edition, we have the Oviraptor, which, man, is it a shame that gets killed by Leonard, because that would have been so cool to see on screen in this as well. But as we go further through, I don't think we see the Ceratosaur, but I have a feeling that there's more than one cage next to where the Allosaurus is. But yeah, I mean, there's a scene where Claire's looking at the cages, and there's at least 2 locusts in them. So there are locusts in the black market. I think to just bring it back away from that for a second, because although that is the most exciting part of the story, we do also have the continuation of Bumpy's egg as the kind of B story. And as you see exactly there, perfect. You're nailing this today, Brad. I am loving that you're getting all the frames I want to talk about.
It's hard to do on the iPad, but I get
there. So this one, again, we can see that Bumpy's egg has hatched. So presumably we're going to get another new character. I think without spoiling anything, there has been some discussion around a potential new character online in certain places in the past. And it's fair to say that Bumpy has got her own character tropes, so I'm sure that her offspring will have equally interesting character tropes.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm hyped. It's kind of played like a scary situation here, like, oh no, the egg cracked. But the dinosaur's probably just hidden right under the pillows right there. It's gonna be super cute. I can't wait. That's really exciting to see that the story's continuing. I was afraid like
Yeah.
it would just get pushed to the side a little bit, but they've continued this journey. They brought the egg with them. They're now in Italy with this egg. Who knows what happens with this baby dinosaur from here? But I'm sure it'll get
I do.
reunited at some point.
I have to confess something as well. Whenever I see the pattern on the egg, I think of Cadbury mini eggs. I don't know
Oh.
if you have them in the US. But they're like little. So Cadbury do like little chocolate eggs that have got like a sugar coating on the outside of
Yeah.
them for Easter.
It definitely
so you do
looks like
have
that.
them. So I just explained them for nothing. But yeah, it makes me think of that.
You're right. It does as well. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, coming forward, we have our shot of the locust getting out in the Arctic environment. I mean, I could see it being one of two things. So we know that they're in Italy, and when we see, I mean, it's got to be Italy because we see snow on the ground when they go into his girlfriend. So, presumably, this is near Biosyn Valley, which would make sense. And there's likely to be locusts out in the wild anyway. So, they're just seeing a locust in the wild, which makes a lot of sense. We then also get another clip of the Ceratosaurus getting out at the market. Interestingly, in this clip, it's Darius, I think, who's running across there, yeah. But there's nobody else around the market, so this could easily be after they've abandoned it with the Ceratosaurus and the Allosaurus breaking out. And I kind of feel like that would be quite cool, because it would almost be a callback to Camp Cretaceous in a way, where you see a familiar location after it's been abandoned. So obviously in Camp Cretaceous it's Jurassic World. So here it might be cool to see this location after the chaos has unfolded to get a little bit of the aftermath.
Yeah, I'm just kind of playing through it in my head because I'm thinking about the Atrociraptors. We have 4
Yeah.
that are all together, right, in Malta.
Yeah.
But we still haven't got that connection yet, so that still hasn't happened yet. So this is I can say it's later in the season, this sequence here. But it's so we have like the middle portion of the season, the beginning to the middle, where we can have the handler interact with the people in Italy somewhere, but to go from Italy, I guess it would be fine to go from Italy and then fly some reason to Malta.
Yeah.
Or I don't. Yeah, there's a whole lot of connections that I'm trying to figure out there. So, I don't know. And my mind's all over the place. Why do you think they go to the girlfriend's house? Like, is there some reason that girlfriend can help them? Because I would assume that they were just trying to track down Brooklyn. But why would they go out of their way? I don't know. So in my mind, hold on. My mind, I got to think through this all. I'm assuming they go from like Italy, but then to Malta and then back to Italy because I want them to go to Biosyn Valley. That just seems like a lot of like traversal.
With the way it's presented, I think we go from Malta to Italy. So you get Brooklyn walking through the like archway in Malta saying she's a different person. So I think her and Soyana have gone immediately to Malta. We do actually, interesting note, this is very similar to the private jet they're in. It's very similar to the private jet that then takes Maisie to Biosyn. So food for thought there. But what I think happens is that they go to Malta, the kids go there to try and find them. They have an encounter with Brooklyn. She says she doesn't want anything to do with them. And then she goes to Biosyn Valley. So I then think the kids make their way to Italy as well to follow her. And that's where Ben is like, oh, I've got a girlfriend who lives locally. Maybe she could help us to find out more about this place before we go there. And she's like acting as sort of their base of operations to recharge before they go to Biosyn Valley.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the information that I had, and I can't seem to find it at the moment. But remember, I had exactly what episode each one of those images took place in. So I was trying to track that down. I can't seem to find it at the moment, but we talk too much, so it's hard to find it.
Yeah.
But whatever happens, I do hope that we are on the right path here. But it sounds like a lot of work to do whatever they need to do. I just want it to kind of hit all those touchstones, so we are tying to the movies. But if this is the only ties we get is just visiting similar locations, I mean, I guess that's fine. But I guess they kind of really got us all very, very hyped up by doing what they did. I think it was season 3, right, in Camp Cretaceous, by like being so directly tied to Fallen Kingdom and those events. So we got a little spoiled, I think, with that. So I kind of want that exact same scenario,
dude. I made the mistake of opening a social media platform, and Kia has noticed a very cool detail. So shout out to Dino Kia. We'll keep talking through, but the shot of the Atrociraptors closing in the foreframe, there is the Pyroraptor. So we're going to get Pyroraptor versus the Atrocities, which is awesome. But let's not fast forward to it yet, Brad. Let's go
where
back
is it?
to that.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to show it.
It's right at the end.
Okay.
So that car, we get the car in the snow. We then get a little shot of Ben doing some exercise, which is fine. It's just the usual comedy. We get the snowmobile with Kenji. And we know from this sequence, and we do see it at the end of the trailer, but we know that the kids, it's in the key art, they encounter the Pyroraptor in the snow environment. So my immediate thought, I mean, in that screenshot of Kenji, actually, to be fair, sorry, I'm just making...
Dude, I'm all over the place. It's so hard to get it to spot in the right spot.
That screenshot there, we see a mountain in the backdrop. So I bet that might be Biosyn Valley. Because we know that there were mountains around the valley in the actual Dolomites. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is Biosyn Valley, which would explain why the Pyroraptor is so close by. So,
and the Pyroraptor is interesting too in Dominion because it's seemingly in like a very random location. It doesn't seem to be in the valley.
It doesn't seem to be contained, does it?
No, it's just like up in the mountains, like kind of doing its own thing, which would be really cool if they were explaining how that came to be or whatever the case is. If it literally just went astray and followed them into the snow and then just ended up there. But like, dude, I'm thinking about the Mizrani helicopter moment and seeing that all play out.
It's trying to follow the kids. It's trying to follow the kids into the valley. They escape and get into the elevator, and whilst they're in the elevator, they hear a crash above them.
Or like, how the kids are watching the helicopter crash. I could see that exact thing happening here. Like they're just up on this hill. They just like escaped it. They kind of lost track of the Pyroraptor, or the Pyroraptor got distracted by the plane crash. And the plane crashed and they see it off in the distance. Like all that could be
so cool.
Excellent stuff to watch play out. Yeah. So
I have to take the cap off because it is literally crushing my brain. I just have a really fat head, unfortunately. But yeah, so then after this, we get that shot of the 3 Atrociraptors, the Pyroraptor. As you say, Nonna is in the middle of them. And interestingly, it's still only 3 at this point.
Yeah.
So this is suggesting that this is the handler hunting them down. And for some reason, the Pyroraptor is there as well. So I have no idea how this is unfolding, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what's going to happen here. Is she going to get taken hostage? Is she going to be used as bait for something? Like, is she sacrificing herself? Because, like, look, this show has not put it past, like, killing off a parent, So,
that is very true.
Yeah, I definitely think it could still be an option here. Who knows? And we might be, like, seeing something play out that could be, a little dire. So, but I just love this situation, though, of the Pyroraptor there. When I first watched it, I didn't catch it. But when I went back and, like, did this, I was like, is that the Pyroraptor right there? Like, what is it doing right there in front of the camera? That's awesome. And it, it just shows that like the Pyroraptor is not in the mountainous region near Biosyn Valley. But it'll get there. So
it's somewhere else as well. Yeah. Or that there's more than one of them, which would be really cool to see.
There's never more than one of these dinosaurs. It's always just the
Dude,
same
I
one.
would love a pack of Pyroraptors. I would genuinely love that. So the frame after this, we get Brooklyn filming herself using Soyana Santos's laser to target somebody. Now, there's a bait and switch here because the next frame shows us Darius and Yasmina, but they're clearly in a different location. But I think this is her either getting evidence or she's on a call to Soyana and she has to show herself doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be certainly one of those moments where she's just like, Ben, like, I got to show you something. Look at this. But he would already know, I guess, at that point. So that wouldn't really be anything too groundbreaking, I guess. But
No.
but yeah, if you're right about the evidence portion of it, if she's trying to gather, intel and, show somebody at the end of the series, like that could definitely be what's happening here.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense. Now, something we do have to talk about before we get to our closing credits is the Minion parallels here. So I noticed one of them immediately, and I've just noticed another one, which is quite funny. So we are getting another two-wheeled vehicle chase in the streets of Malta, it appears, with dinosaurs, which is just quite comical. I think I just find it amusing. Like, poor Malta, they've had enough at this point, and they're getting this other chase scene going on. It could be a misdirect, it could be Italy, but the fact that it's the Stygimoloch in front of them and we see the Stygimolochs in the fight arena suggests that this is again other animals that got out of the arena. So perhaps this is how Malta gets cleaned up. Perhaps the kids are part of helping to deal with the immediate fallout of the black market bust out. I don't know, what do you think of that? Do you think that could be a cool way of explaining it?
I love that, actually. I think that's awesome to have, and that's what they're so good at. Like, they are so good at controlling the situation and getting dinosaurs to where they need to be. That's what they showed off so well in Camp Cretaceous so many times, like trying to get dinosaurs to where they need to be or whatever. So I think having that be the same thing here would be really cool. They're using the flares. That's an obvious tool to show, like, follow me, dinosaur, hey, come this way. So they're definitely trying to get the attention. I love that it's a completely different version of what we got in Dominion. Like, Dominion's like fast-paced motorcycle with Atrociraptors chasing, Owen to death. He's going to bite him. But this is just more like a lumbering Stiggy with Vespas. Yeah. So it's so different, but I can't wait to see how it plays out.
I think it's going to be really cool. There's one other parallel, which is towards the end. So 1 minute 23, Brad. There we go. I've given you the exact time code. Look at that. I've just realised I could have done this all along, and it would have made your life so much easier. The other, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But the other bit at 1 minute 23,
I can only get to 1 minute 23 in one time.
Yeah. So yes. So
that's the best we're getting, by the way.
Burst through a lake again. So we're getting another parallel
Not
of
again.
the Pyroraptor bursting through the lake, which is just quite funny to me. I have a feeling that Chaos Theory isn't going to be putting characters in freezing water that should kill them, though. So I think we're going to get a little bit more of a realistic encounter here. But as you did just also highlight at that 1 minute 23 mark, there is an interesting blink and you'll miss it moment of a... God?
Let me say about this Pyroraptor. There wasn't there like an avalanche looking sequence or something that they were kind of running away. So it doesn't have to be a lake per se. It could just be that they were running away from a bunch of snow. And the snow, it just burst through the snow. So I think that's
I mean,
probably...
to be fair, when you look at it, let me just...
It does look like it's bursting through the snow. So
yeah, you're spot on there. But also, there is a scene with what appears to be either the Pteranodon or the Dimorphodon from the black market breaking free and flying underneath the Biosyn Eurocopter. And this is very, very specific because this is a custom-made helicopter. And as far as we know, there's only one of them. So this is literally the helicopter from Dominion, which makes me think, is it being presented as Dodgson's personal helicopter that he's using? Or is there a possibility that we might see Kayla factor in to some extent. The only thing I think of there is if it was Kayla, it would have to be after Dominion, and they've said that we're not going to move past Dominion in the timeline. So that makes me think it's more likely to be Dodgson. But it's interesting seeing the helicopter here. And one of the little detail I really like on it is the fact that even here you do have the turbines on either side turning as well, because that's just a really cool detail that they added with this helicopter. There is no real world helicopter that has that, so it's just a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think this looks really cool. I'm assuming it's Malta, but it does look like it could be something else too. But yeah, why
this one screenshot? This made me so glad I tracked down the toy.
Oh yeah, I have it somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, it's over there, just hanging out. Yeah, it's an awesome toy, but it does make me wonder if this is Malta. Like this is something that makes me reconsider all this happening all at the same time, because like Dominion is so fast paced and everything's happening so consecutively in that movie that like there's not really time for a helicopter stop at Malta. So I don't really know what's going on here, unless it's like, but you just said it wouldn't be post Dominion, but that would be really cool if they like left Dominion and went here for some reason.
Unless they have deliberately changed it. Remind me to tell you something. Can you just remind me after we're done recording to mention promotions to you? Just remind me with that, okay?
Okay.
Just something very random that I want to tell you.
Okay. One quick theory. I know we want to wrap up, but maybe this is like Dodgson. I need help. I need extraction. Can you get me out of here? And all the same stuff is happening, with Dominion, except this helicopter had already dropped off Grant and Ellie a while ago, and now it's being sent backwards, to go get Santos off of Malta to extract her out of there. That could be something.
I mean, it's conceivable that they've got more than one of that type of helicopter.
That's true.
Like realistically, they could have built a fleet of them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking timeline-wise too.
Very Dominion-coded aesthetic. Yeah,
it's like kind of like the dinosaurs. We have to assume there's just one of these things.
Yeah. So we do, interestingly, get shots of Brooklyn in what appears to be the undermarket of the Malta Black Market, so like the tunnels. And she stood with somebody, and I find I don't know who this is, which is quite interesting. So we've got another new character here. It doesn't look like any of the campers. So my immediate initial thought was, is this Rain Delacourt? But it's definitely not Rain Delacourt. But it's just interesting that there's another new character thrown into the fold here. So I'm curious to see who that ends up being. I tell you what would be quite cool is if it ends up being like a dangerous species division agent. Because
that's what I was just going to say.
The DSD, the DSD are in Malta at this point. So what if during the roundup, Brooklyn sees them in the aftermath and is like, oh, I've got evidence of all of this stuff that's going on. That might explain how she then gets away from Soyana, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's not only Soyana she has to get away from, Brad, because at the very end...
Let me cut in because you're mentioning the whole like the agents and stuff like that, and it just makes me think like we see that play out in Dominion with Barry and Owen and Claire. They're all there on like a mission. Barry's on his own mission, and in my mind, watching this trailer, like Brooklyn's the reason, like that they're there. Like she's the one who maybe got into contact with somebody who said, you need to get here now, ASAP. We've got a mission going down. And so she's the one who really makes this all play out. And I think you could be right that this could be one of Barry's friends or something, another agent that's going to report back to Barry. And that could be pretty cool. I would absolutely love that. We're probably tying this in way more than it will be, but
this is going to be exactly what Scott said when we interviewed him, where he'll listen to this and be like, "Oh, I wish I
should have done that." Sorry, Scott.
Can you imagine a Barry cameo?
Dude, I've been hoping. I've been hoping for Barry cameo and for Kayla Watts cameo, but I'll take Barry this season. Let's get Barry this season. That would be fantastic.
But then we do have a returning cameo, Brad, which is our very last shot, which is our favourite person, the Jurassic World Chaos Theory logo.
That's what I was wondering. What are you getting at? The logo?
Our favourite person, Microbangs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't seem to find it. It won't. Where is it?
It's 129.
There she is. Microbangs, the handler.
Oh, dude, the lighting you got on that screenshot is spot on.
It's great.
10 out of 10.
This show has always
so
been
she's
excellent
back.
with the lighting. You know, it's always been really spot on with that.
Really good. She's back. She's in the tunnels as well. And are we going to find out her relationship with Soyana Santos? We have to. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out, just because she looks very angry at this point. So I'm hitting you with speculation here, right? What if Brooklyn is with the DSD? She's let them know what's going on in Malta, and Microbangs has lost her Atrociraptors because of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she has to lose them at some point, right? So I assume like they meet up here on Malta, and like maybe she's reluctant to give them up. And I could honestly see like Soyana Santos like killing her off, you know, like having the handler killed off because she won't give up the Atrociraptors. And then that's why she has them all, you know, later on in this moment in Dominion. I think something bad's going to happen here because we don't see the handler in the future. We see Dodgson, we see Soyana Santos. So I think something bad could happen here. If she doesn't just get locked up or something, sure. But I think she'll probably get offed here in season 3.
Yeah, I think she will. I think she'll either get offed or she'll get captured. One of the two.
Yeah. But I love it. I'm so glad she's back.
Doesn't seem to shy away from death. I think it's likely she dies.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty brutal and pretty epic, and like give you context to what's going on underneath the city even further, you know? That'd be so cool.
Soyana kills her.
That's what I mean. Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Like Soyana's
so
the one to do it. Yeah. Whether it's like she takes she has Ghost, right? Or no, who does she have? She has Tiger, which one? I don't know. She
has Red.
Red, okay. Whichever
Red.
one.
The third one you didn't mention.
The other one, yeah. I would imagine like she could use that, or she could just like shoot her or something. But that's not really the MO for the show, so I don't really know if that would happen. But I can definitely see, you know, Soyana Santos being the person to make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be really cool. I'm getting so excited for this season. I just feel like there's so much potential for it to really tie a lot of stuff together. And I think the big thing for me is they're doing what we wanted. So we've been asking for more Biosyn, we've been asking for more connections to Dominion, and they're doing it. And it really feels like this season, hats off to the writers. So hats off to Scott, hats off to Bethany. I'm so glad you went back to full screen as my face was doing that expression. Great. Fantastic. Really lovely. Hats off to all of the writers, really, because I think it's so clear that their fingers have really been on the pulse when it's come to what the community's been hoping for with this show. And it looks like we're definitely getting a lot of that, which, again, it kind of makes the timing of Rebirth feel so strange to me. Like, we could have just lived in this moment for a little bit longer, got Rebirth in a couple of years' time, maybe 26, 27, and just enjoy the time where these dinosaurs are in the wild. Because there is that part of me that's like, oh, I'm really excited for this story. And then the other part of me that's like, oh, well, they're all dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's the only thing I would say. Interesting
conundrum, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
it's the Rebirth thing is frustrating to a certain extent. You know, I sympathize with that because I wish they kind of gave us some more time too. And I think more time to develop, you know, this story tying into the films or becoming films, you know, something like that. I think there, and as we just discussed here today, if none of those things we discussed tie in, you know, it just shows that it's possible. Like that.
Yeah.
We could sit here in 25 minutes, 30 minutes and just play out the entire thing and connect all the dots. So the possibilities are there. We just want those things to happen, and to have Rebirth come in and just boom, wipe it all clean, definitely kind of hurts a little bit. So we gotta see, man. I'm excited to see that movie for sure, and it looks amazing. But this also looks amazing, and it ties to everything that we love as well. So I'm very excited for both.
Do you know what? Strangely, I'm excited to see them build on the locusts as well.
Yeah, man. Look, if they give any more reason for people to be like accepting of it and into the idea, I think that would be fantastic. So, use the show as a tool to make the world better. I think, to make the Jurassic World, not the world. It's not going to make the world better.
I was like, I don't quite know how the locusts are making the world better, but then when you added the context, what we're saying is use the show to do the world building better.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see more of it, and hopefully we'll be seeing it soon. And what I would say to anyone watching this is, you guys know the deal at this point. I think we both work really hard around the release of the show to put a lot of content out. So hopefully we'll be doing all of that again this time around, which is going to be stressful, I think, because the release isn't particularly well timed for me and work commitments this time around.
Yep. Same here. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how this plays out. And, we only have a few weeks here, so we gotta get moving somehow. Yeah. So this is step one. We're getting there. I'm excited. You're excited. We've got a lot to talk about, it seems like, in season 3, and hopefully there's season 4, and hopefully we have more to discuss in the future. I'm excited, dude.
And hopefully we get more toys from Mattel as well. I know that they are full steam ahead on Rebirth, but I do genuinely, I'm going to put this out into the universe right now. Mattel, you need to give us Brooklyn, you need to give us Sammy,
oh my God,
and you need to give us a new version of Soyana Santos. Just do that and we will be happy. Even if it's a Creations exclusive, we will be happy.
Yeah, I'd like that. An alternate version of Soyana Santos would be really cool. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the, because they tend to do there was a little scooter. Maybe we'll get the what is this called? Snowmobile, or the Vespa or something this time around,
With Soyana Santos. Oh my God.
Microbanks.
We're gonna get the alternate Raptor Squad scene. You get Owen with his really nice motorbike and all of the Raptors, and then you're gonna get Soyana Santos on a Vespa with
this is gonna be the Boba Fett version of a bike chase. Hopefully it's better than that. I don't know if you remember that, but it was slow as dirt, had no speed whatsoever. It was terrible.
And yet it still manages to crash at the end.
Well, Tom, I'm sure you've got stuff. Let me take over hosting for a second. What do you have? Do you have anything to promote real quick while you're heading out?
The one thing I would say, actually, is huge shout out to Brooks. So Brooks Libby is the composer on Tales from a Jurassic World. And he recently... So with Tales from a Jurassic World, there's been a lot of discussions behind the scenes about whether we could ever raise money through the project or anything. And I've always said no with that, just because I don't want to upset Universal. I'm very respectful of the fact that ultimately we're playing in a sandbox that isn't our own. So Brooks decided to self-fund getting a orchestra to perform some music for the show. So I know it's something that he's always wanted to do himself anyway. And he just decided that Tales was the project that he wanted to do that with. So it's been quite surreal seeing people actually playing his music for the show. So season 3 is going to have actual live performed openings and closes, I think, which is quite exciting. So I just want to shout him out, because that there was no expectation for that or anything, and he just did that and really wanted to take it out there. So it's been cool seeing all of that.
Seeing his post with the score book and everything, I was like, "Whoa, this is legit now! What's happened here? Season 3,
dude! I saw it and I was like, "This is amazing!" But also, I really hope nobody sees this and thinks, "Are they trying to make an official project?"
You got a lot of hype behind you now, so it's legit. And I think it's the project
it won't deliver. Brooks's music will deliver, but my writing won't.
No, dude, look, the project is great as a kind of like a stepping stone for your work, your editing, your writing, people doing voice acting and stuff like that, and Brooks composing the music and stuff. So it's been a really cool like, way to show off your skills. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. And I will just say on this conversation as well. So, I mean, I'll put it out into the world. I'm aiming for a May release. Whether we get there or not, we'll see. Because I've been a little bit more delayed than I would have liked on some things. But if we can make a May release work, then we'll release it just before Rebirth. And it's quite apt to have this conversation about Chaos Theory because the final 2 episodes of Tales Season 3 run concurrent with the 3rd act of Jurassic World Dominion. Actually kind of concurrently with a bit of the first act as well, really. Basically, I was about to say a massive spoiler, so I won't say that. But basically, the scenes that happen in a certain place.
Very descriptive. I love the scenes that happen in a certain place. It's always my favorite part of any movie. It really is.
Yeah.
So any final plugs before we head out? Is that it? You good?
That is everything.
You're at Tom Jurassic.
You're
underscores somewhere in there,
host.
and yeah.
Oh yeah. You can. You don't want to find me. It's fine. It's all good. Just yeah.
Well, his links will be in the show notes. Go check him out.
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is. I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in and sharing in this love of Jurassic World Chaos Theory with myself and Tom. Of course, a huge shout out to Tom for joining me once again. We never know when some of these trailers are going to pop up. Back in the old days, they would send out things ahead of time, but, I love the out of nowhere, unexpected trailer release for stuff like this. It is kind of exciting. So a huge shout out to Tom for joining me. And, as always, we'll be hitting up the recording booth every time we got to talk about Chaos Theory in the near future here with hopefully some preview content and some spoiler-free content, spoiler content, all that good stuff, and hopefully some interviews as well. I'm very, very excited for the future here to see what happens with Chaos Theory. What are we going to expect? I know that, Mattel had said that we can expect more, with Season 4 in the future, but, I take everything that is said at New York Toy Fair like a grain of salt. They had told me specifically that Battle at Big Rock was going to be in theaters with Hobbs and Shaw, and that didn't really pan out. So you never know. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that Season 4 comes after Rebirth. But man, what is our future looking like here? So I feel like we're intertwined with 2 separate pieces of material. We've got Rebirth doing its own thing. We've got Chaos Theory still lingering on everything that came before it. So I'm excited though. It's the future is right in front of us, and I can't wait to see what happens. But it's actually that time of the week where I want to go ahead and read some ratings and reviews over on Apple Podcasts. And this one here, I had to go ahead and read it. Of course, like I always say, I read the good ones, the bad ones, whatever anybody wants to say out there. And if you want to, you can go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Preferably 5 stars. That would help with the ratings, of course. But, just tell people what you think of the show. This one here, let's see. Who does it come from? This comes from Jurassic World fan, I think. Yeah. Okay, so Jurassic World fan, in parentheses, I love it. And the title is It's Okay. And it was a 2-star review. I'm sorry about that, Jurassic World fan. I love it. It says, it's okay. It's not that bad, but not great either. But if you want a good Jurassic World podcast, just watch the Dino Watch podcast. It's super amazing and way underrated, but this is a little overrated. Also, it's been going on for way too long. Over 400 episodes. Really, man? No offense. Don't want to be mean. Oh, well. Appreciate it, I guess. Thank you for that review, the 2-star review. It has been going on very long. That's very true. We're coming up on 10 years in May. So 10 years and well over 400 podcasts. We're probably more so in the 500 range. When you look at the total, we're probably at 536, it looks like, around there. So that's a lot of episodes. I definitely get what you're going for there, that it is very long. But look, we never run out of anything to talk about, and there's new stuff coming out all the time. But if we're overrated, we're overrated. That's fine. I can't help that. But I do want to point out something funny about your review. It says to go listen to the Dino Watch podcast, which we released the Dino Watch podcast just so, I mean, at least if we're talking about the same one. I host the Dino Watch podcast on another platform, and Tom Jurassic is the one who created it, who's on this episode as well. So shout out to Tom for creating the Dino Watch podcast. So we are the ones that do that. So we're also underrated, but also overrated. So I appreciate that all at the same time, I guess. But you know what? I got to give it up to whoever wrote this, the Jurassic World fan. I'm going to keep doing my thing here, and you keep doing your thing, and we'll all have a good time together. But thank you so much for leaving that review. And if, like I said, anybody else wants to go ahead and leave us a review, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, 1 star, 3 stars, 5 stars, whatever you feel. Just go ahead and leave your thoughts and feelings there in the comments. And I know you can also leave like star ratings or whatever over on Spotify. You can do that for us too. And I know we've got some comments over Spotify. I keep forgetting to read into them. I got to check like a different app and everything, but I appreciate everybody commenting over on Spotify as well. But thank you, as always, to our podcast host, Podomatic, and shout out to Pinecast as well for hosting the Dino Watch podcast. Also, just for giving us a space on all those platforms each and every week. We really, really appreciate it. Everybody out there, please just know that you matter. Please stay safe out there in this world. We got to keep fighting for representation, change, and equality in the Jurassic franchise, but more importantly, outside of it, in the real world. We got to make this world a better place, and make it nicer, make it kinder. Let's all try to do that together, all right? I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up, let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads and Instagram. Watch our content on TikTok and YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, contributor bios, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our website, and wherever else podcasts are found. So please be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams, toy hunts, reviews, in-depth bonus content, gameplay, event and theme park coverage on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us or participate in the Jurassic mailbag, you can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just to say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, enjoy.